Right, good morning fish people, I'm Alan Norrish from FishON TV. What's today's date, Geoff? I forgot.
What, 12th?
Today is Tuesday the 12th, I think. I think he's only guessing though, I don't know. Tuesday the 12th of January, we are on lockdown. So we've come to a local fishery at Gowdall. We've got permission from Steve, the owner, to fish the Specimen Lake, which is behind us here. Now Steve's been telling me that some of the carpers have been catching 10 and 11 pound bream, not skimmers, they're proper bream. So I'm going to try and target one or two of those. But today I'm not by myself. I know I'm doing a bit of pleasure fishing. One or two of you asked me to keep going, doing a bit of pleasure fishing, which I am going to do. I can probably show you the rigs that I'm going to do. It's going to be dead simple today. As you all know, I've got the golden rod feeder competition, so it's going to be feeder only today for me. But I've got to send a special guest. He's promised me he's not going to foul hook any today because he's skimmer fishing, hopefully. It's the mighty fisherman himself. I'll get a little bit close, not too close. Geoff Vos, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Geoff.
Morning.
Right then, you're a out and out carp man normally.
Not today.
Not today. It's skimmers on this one, isn't it? It's full of skimmers.
Silver's day today.
So Silver's day today. Roach, perch, skimmers. You never know, we might hook into a mighty lump, but we shall see. We're not targeting those.
With silly elastic flat you out.
There we go, you see, I've mentioned he'll play hell with me for having silly elastic, knickety elastic as he calls it. It's light elastics, light gear, and we'll see what we can catch today. So, should be a bit different this, Geoff, shouldn't it?
Certainly will.
We've had ice. It's been -6, hasn't it, for the last few days, so yeah. The ice has just gone. Steve's managed to get it nice and clear, so I'm not sure whether it's going to fish its socks off or not, but we're going to try and put a few fish in the net, get a few pictures for you, and hopefully be a little bit more entertainment in this lockdown, which is being a bit of a pain at the minute. So let's have a quick look at this lake. So we'll see on bank in 2 seconds, eh, Geoff?
Yep.
Right. It's probably it's certainly quite a wide and long venue. So it's a square, big square lake. There's lots of big pike, catfish, carp. I mean, there's catfish up to 40 odd pound in here, and I know he was telling me last time he's put a couple of carp in 30 pounds about 6 or 7 years ago, so God knows how big they must be now. But let's have a quick look here. There's plenty of ducks knocking about. So as you can see there, now Steve has told me that the big massive slabs have been coming from the middle of the lake somewhere there, so that's going to be a line. And then the other skimmers and bits and bobs are usually about 8 metre line. So I think that's where Geoff will be. I might be a little bit further on the feeder, but we've got these pegs here. He's recommended these are Steve. Let's have a look. Oh, and you can get your bait from here if ever you come, just in here. And I think we'll be fishing these pegs here. So quite easy enough to get to the middle. There is a feature over there as well, so we'll get his gear together. A nice little look of the lake. So we'll get his gear together and we'll see you on the bank in a jiffy. Right, I'm here, I'm all set up and ready. Like I said earlier, just a feeder approach for me. Geoff's going on the pole, so I'm going to ask him if he fancies a pole versus feeder match for a quid. Got to have something to fish for, haven't you? So before we go have a quick word with Geoff, let me just tilt this a little bit, that's better. This is what I'm using. I'll show you where I'm casting to start with. I've actually baited up into the middle there, with 4 feederfuls of, I mixed a little bit of this ground bait, and I've put some of these in. There's some 4s and 6mm pellets all softened down there. I've got some chopped worms. These are for the bream, obviously with ground bait and the skimmers. That's for my short line. The maggots, the pinkies, worms and ground baits for my short line. The micros, a 4mm and 6mm mix, is for the middle of the lake on the Juro Banjo feeder, which I'll show you here. For you people that don't know what a Juro Banjo feeder is, it's like a hybrid feeder with a 4-inch hook length, size 12 QM1. I've gone quite big because it's a specimen lake. If you hook into a carp, I want to make sure I can get it in anyway. But I don't think these 10 and 11 pound bream are going to be that hook shy. So I'm going to leave that bait out there for a good hour. He says it does take a while for them to turn up, and we'll see what happens there. And on my short line, I'll turn around, let me have a look. I'm going to start off with a small feeder. As you can see, that's a sliding rig. Up to 2 number 8s there, and I've got like a bit of silicone there. It just helps create that boom a little bit more, and that's his twizzle boom there all the way through to a hook link swivel. And then I'm starting off with quite a long hook length to start with. It's 60 centimeters plus the twizzle boom. This time I do like it to be quite a long hook length, slow sinking, and we'll see how things go. If I start missing bites, I can shorten it. We'll just see how that works out. Dead simple approach. So the line that I've got for that one is about, if I can get my finger roughly around about here, about 16 to 18 meters. I've not measured it. I just found the depth. I've noticed when I've been throwing a 1 ounce bomb out, in front of me there's about 6 or 7 foot, a 2-second count. You go to about 20 meters and you've got a 1-second count, and then you go to the middle of the lake, you've got just short of 2 seconds. So I'm guessing it's about 7 foot just here, 3 foot 20 meters, and then it drops off again a bit further out. And Geoff just confirmed that depth actually. He says, how deep you got, Geoff? 7.5 foot is got. And how far? And 6 on inside. So I won't far. If I count 3 foot per second on a 1 ounce bomb. So that's what I used to count 2, but I've found out it's probably 3 foot per second. So anyway, Geoff, turn around to the mighty fisherman. Here's Geoff fishing his pole, look.
I don't tread on it.
Yeah, I've just stood on his one of his sections. There he's fishing in the channel, isn't it, that, Geoff?
Well, just off it.
Just off the channel, and he's after. Have you just had one?
No.
No, oh, I thought. Oh, he must be just wetting his landing net to make it look like he.
Landing net to make it look like.
Right then, Geoff, so you're on pole only today.
Yep.
I'm on feeder only.
Mhm.
Are we having a pole versus feeder today for a quid?
Quid's only to make it interesting.
Are you sure you can afford it?
I'll have to check my bank balance.
What's your tactics today then, Geoff? Tell these lovely fisher people what your tactics are.
Maggot.
Just
out and out maggot. Yeah.
Out and out maggot today. No pinkies?
No, just out and out maggot. I'm just going to mix a little bit of ground bait and we'll be away.
Right, lovely. Sounds like a plan to me.
Yep.
Right. Have you seen the weather? Look at the weather. Oh, we've got Simon Hudson here. He's just turned up to come fishing as well. So just look at this. Absolutely fabulous weather. It's going to get a bit bright now, and there's always something to spoil the scenery. There's Simon Hudson. You've seen him in our fishing matches. We don't want to break the camera, do we now? Right, I'm going to get fishing. We'll see how we get along. I'm not expecting fish straight away, but we shall see. I know if they turn up, it can be quite productive. So let's see if we can keep you entertained today with a few fish in the net. So over and out. Right, I've cast in now. I did forget to mention the hook length is a fluorocarbon 013 with a size 16 maggot hook. I've got the Guru one. Don't think they'll be hook shy, these fish in here. So I can always scale down even more if I have to. I've got 011 and 18s and things, but I like to try and get away with as big a hook as possible. One of the little tips that Lee Kerry gave away, and Steve Ring is a big believer of that, so we'll see what happens here. I've just cast on the short line. I've baited the middle of the lake up like I've told you with the micros and 4 and 6mm pellets. Going to give that a good rest. And I'm going to be in and out with this. I'm not going to leave it any more than sort of 3 minutes for the first half dozen casts because it is a tiny little feeder. And I just want bits of bait going through all the time, you know, so to try and create a little bit of interest. Geoff's had two small roach. This has been in 1 minute and 23 seconds. So I'm due to give it a little twitch, and it's a lovely, I've thrown the bum out there, it's lovely and clear on the bottom. And I says to Steve, I says, well, there's hardly any silt in here. And he's had it desilted, so he's had, you know, he said it were getting a little bit bad, so I thought it was clear. I thought it was unbelievably clear. It was lovely, especially out there in the middle. So, like I said, I don't know how good it's going to be today because we have had some awful, dreadful weather for the last week or so. It's been really cold. We've had snow. We've had ice. I mean, there's still ice down here. But I think last night, yesterday was about the warmest day we've had for weeks, and I think it got up to about 7 degrees yesterday. So we're up to 2 minutes now, another 45, 50 seconds, and I'm going to have another little cast out there just to get that bait drizzling down. I have got some corn actually, which I haven't put on my bait tray, which I will do. I'm going to introduce the odd piece of corn. I've got chopped worm if I want to introduce that as well. But I'm just going to keep it very, very simple. I don't want to be too aggressive to start with. Tiny feeders, in pretty regular to start with. See how the swim develops from there. In fact, I can see the ice, it's trying to ice over just here now. I've actually cleared it with my landing net. And I'll do that again. So we're up to 3 minutes now. We shall have a recast. I've just started off with 2 dead reds. That's got a leaf on its way in and they've come off. Sorry, not 2 dead reds, 2 live reds, and I'm putting a couple of dead reds in, a few pinkies and a few micros because it is carp dominated. There's a lot of people come fishing, specimen hunting for carp in here because it is the specie lake, like I said earlier. So that is the reason I'm putting quite a few micros in because they'll be used to it. So, and it'd be lovely to hook into one of those great big 10-pound bream. It'd be nice to get one of those, but I'm not holding my breath. So there we go. Small amount of bait. Got my target. Just let that pop in. Bloody ice. So it's about 16, 17 metres. I have to clear that ice again. Just keeps icing over. Just down here. Just right in line. I can see just that looked like I had a bite then. I'll just keep clearing that ice away. Because it is right on. No, it's just the ice on my line, Geoff. So I might have to just lift it up a tickle. Yeah, just get it off the ice, so there we go. Right, so that's pretty much what it is. I'm going to do that a few times. We'll see if we get any interest off any skimmers and things. So, over and out. Right, well this is fish number 6 actually. And the bites are coming pretty quick now. That one, after 1 minute and 15 seconds. So, let's have a look. Nice little roach, but I'm hoping that... nice little roach, but I'm hoping that there's going to be some skimmers turn up. So what we're doing is, any that's any smaller than that, we chuck him back. So we're counting those. So I've got 3 I've thrown back, and and a few in net, so we'll probably weigh as net a piece, and we're going to count the ones we chuck back as the same size, because Steve he wants to leave plenty of small roach. Anything small that'll just go back in. It's the bites are coming pretty quick. They're nice positive bites. There were tiny little bites to start with. That one, I thought it was going to be a bream. It was a real positive pull round. I might actually shorten the hook length if the bites keep coming like this. There was one fish that I brought in, never even showed an indication. If I get a few more of those, I'll shorten the hook length. I just managed to shove all that ice out at way. It was a big sheet of ice actually, it wasn't freezing back over, it was a big thin piece of ice. Give that a little tweak. Just put the timer on. If the bites keep coming as quick as this, I probably won't even use the timer. And I might even put it on my knee, because they're pretty quicker, the bites. As roach bites are. So you watch, I've got the camera on now, it probably won't go around now. I think Geoff said half a dozen as well, so it's nip and tuck at the minute, nip and tuck. Let's just see if it goes round. And a few of the bites, I'm sort of giving it 45 seconds or so before I give it a little twitch. And usually I get a bite straight after that. There we go, let's have another little twitch there. That is basically just to sort of straighten the hook length out a little bit. Create a little bit of movement, it's just moved it a few inches. No, it's not going around this time. Can't write it, can you? You can't write it. Come on, Tip, go round. You've been behaving. I'm not going to tell Geoff, but I do fancy him to catch a fair few more than me on pole, to be honest with you, but I'm hoping I might end up with some bigger skimmers than he's going to get being on the feeder. Last time we fished a match on here, it started off like this, small roach, and then the skimmers moved in, and I ended up with about 35 pounder skimmers, which were great. So I have got to thank Steve for letting us fish on here, because it is stuffed with skimmers. And like I said, they don't normally get fished for, so they're not hook shy, these silverfish. I might even at some point, was that a little twitch? I might even at some point go to a slightly bigger hook with worm on. Or even soft pellet. I've got some soft pellets as well. I don't mind, when I'm only casting this sort of 16 to 18 metres, I don't mind hooking a soft pellet on a little light feed. It's only a 15 gram feeder. Nice and light, that's why it moves nice and easy on the bottom. But typical, 2.5 minutes in. When it gets to 3 minutes, I will bring it back in. I'll go back out again in the same spot. It just goes in with a nice little plop, not a lot of noise. Just build a swim up. And if I think they need more feed, I have got different feeders here, which I can put on bigger feeders. I've got like a block end feeder, 2 different types of block end feeders. I've got a bigger cage feeder, 2 different sizes. And a maggot feeder, which can work really well as well with silverfish. I'd normally use a maggot feeder for roach, if I think it's just roach, but we'll see how the swim progresses. And we'll give you updates as we get along. Over and out. Right then, we're about an hour in. I've thrown 7 small little roach back, and I've just had about 3 skimmers. And what I've done, I've introduced some chopped worm, and I just put a little piece of worm on the hook, on the 16 maggot hook at the minute. I might even start changing to a slightly bigger feeder and a slightly bigger hook and start putting a bigger piece of worm on, just to see if I can get some of those bigger skimmers, because like I say, in the match before that I fished last year, the skimmers were sort of about £1.50 each, and they were well worth catching. So introducing a bit of chopped worm just seems to have kicked the skimmers into feeding, or should I say it's putting the roach off from going for the slightly bit bigger bait, and the skimmers are actually having it. But I am having to leave it in a little bit longer. Oh, I forgot to put my timer on. It's just casting now. And I know it sounds ridiculous, this, but instead of getting bites almost immediately, I'm getting bites after about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm willing to leave it in a little bit longer. Like, even though I've fed the middle of the lake up with bait, I've not actually fed this line. I've gone for a negative approach to start with, casting quite regular to get a column of bait going through and build the swim up like that. I don't see the point in piling a load of bait in, which could just ruin the peg from the off. Having said that, there are days where it can kick-start it straight away, but I'd rather do it negative and build it up from there. That's the theory behind it anyway, because it has been bloody cold. So it's due a little twitch. Just give that a little twitch. One of the skimmers came, as soon as I moved it like that, it went straight round. So that's the way I'm approaching it at the minute, and it seems to be working. The skimmers are about 4 or 5 ounce a piece. I think we're still sort of neck and neck, me and Geoff. He says he's thrown 5 back, but I know he's put a few in his net as well. So, but at least we're getting bites. It's better than nothing. I hope that sun's not blinding me, because it is quite bright. It's just not the same from this angle. I'd have to turn round to you. So it'll be gone soon. It'll be gone. A lovely day, plenty of bites. What have I had? I've probably had about 10 fish, 11 fish. So we can't complain about that. Let's just hope some of the bigger skimmers put in. Actually, on this bit, I had one small piece of worm. I've actually put the nib of another piece of worm on, just a slightly bigger bait on, just to try and entice maybe a bigger skimmer or something like that. But enjoyable. It's good fishing, and like I said, I want to practice my feeder fishing. I want to fine-tune a few things. I've shot on the hook length, like I said earlier, because I didn't have an indication, and when I reeled it in, there were a fish on. So I've just shot on the hook length. It's not resulted in me getting any more fish or less fish. It's just that with a shorter hook length on, there's less movement for them to move about, and even though I'm trying to straighten that hook length out, if they come towards you, it's got nearly a metre before it actually affects the feeder. So we've been in 2.5 minutes, another minute and a half I'll give it at the very most. I'll probably give it another twitch shortly. I'll do that now. If there's nothing on after 4 minutes, I'll go back out, a little bit of chopped worm in, a few dead maggots, a couple of pinkies, and there's a few micros. I've got a separate bait to be in. I just keep adding ground bait, and then as much bait as I want to put in, whether I want to put more particles in or less particles in. Like I say, I don't want to start overfeeding it. We'll just see how it progresses. If I start getting plenty of fish, by introducing more bait, I know they're wanting more food. So that's how I'm reading it at the minute. Things seem to be going pretty smooth, considering how cold it's been. So quite happy at the minute. Just a shame it won't go round when the camera's on. So let's see how we progress from here. Like I say, if I might start introducing a little bit more bait just to see if that'll kickstart it. I'm going to have a look on the long line in about 20 minutes. I'll probably be leaving that in there for about 15 minutes a cast. I'll probably have a couple of casts at that. And what I'll do before I go on that, I'll probably put a couple of feederfuls out there just to keep the fish interested on this short line. And after about 15, after each cast, I'll probably put another feederful in just to make sure there's enough food down there to keep them interested. That's the theory. let's see if it works. So update shortly. Right, I've just put a bigger feeder on, a few more worms on the worm, and another skimmer. I've just been talking to Steve outside of me. I'm due to go on that long line to have a quick look, see if there's any bigger bream out there. But I'm just going to have a couple of 2-minute casts with a bigger feeder on, put a bit of bait down. There we go, little skimmer. Oh. And see if we can get hooked into a big bream. So I still think it's neck and neck with me and Geoff. I've still only had 7 that I've chucked back, plus what I've got in my net. So it's looking like a good match between us. Let's see how we get on. So update soon. And another, oh, we'll swing that one in. There we go. And another skimmer. Top lip, nicely hooked. We can't complain about that. So I've put a bigger feeder on to put a bit more bait down. And I've actually started catching more skimmers. So what I'm going to do, because I do want to try that long line, just for 20 minutes, I'm going to put a bigger feeder on now, an even bigger feeder. It looks like the skimmers are starting to move in. So I'm going to put a bit of bait down, give it 20 minutes to settle, go back over it with a slightly big hook, slightly bigger worm, and see if any decent skimmers have moved in there. So that's the plan. Let's see if it works. Right then, folks, these I had quite a bit longer on that long line than I intended to do. I had about an hour on it, just to give it a chance. No bites whatsoever, but I did keep the short line topped up, and went on with maggot to start with. Small roach. I've had 8 that I've thrown back because they were far too small. And I've just changed to a block end feeder just to try and get that bait down to the bottom a little without letting too many particles release on its way down. The theory about that is just hopefully get more bigger fish feeding on the bottom if I can. But obviously that's not worked on that cast, so I've just doubled. I've got 2 small pieces of worm. Right, I'm back. 2 small pieces of worm. I've just cast it in now. Get my timer set, and I'm getting bites within 2 minutes. So I've got a few little skimmers, a few roach in there, and 8 tiny ones I've thrown back. Geoff's thrown 13 little ones back and a little perch, and he thinks he's got a few decent roach and a few little skimmers in his net. The skimmers we're after have not turned up yet, and it's a shame because they're a cracking stamp. Just hoping they'll turn up. One, I was hoping a big slab would turn up out there on the tiny little bite, missed it on the method, but nothing happened there. I will have another go. Steve says to try the method with a couple of maggots on out there. He says you can sometimes get them like that as well, so I might give that a go as well. Just get a bit of bait in here. Just 2 secs. There we go. So it's certainly not put them off two big pieces of worm. Back in that same spot. Plops in nicely. Settle. Right, there we go. We're all set. All set. So I think we're about neck and neck, because I think I've got a little bit more weight than him. There's not a lot of weight in there. Like I say, I'm sure I'd have had quite a few more skimmers if I'd have stuck it out. I think you saw earlier I was starting to catch them. If that had been a match, I wouldn't have left that line. I just fancied having a look out there on the method just to see if there are any big slabs to be had. but obviously not. So I'm going to give this another hour. Oh, a little tap. They are tiny little bites, these. And then I will have another look out there, and I've probably changed to a smaller hook with a couple of dead reds on in a band. It doesn't put them off if they're in a band, they'll still take it. And just see if we can hook into some bigger fish out there. But it's not been action-packed. There's a couple of lads been around and they've said that it's been hard fishing, so it's not just us being semi-skimmed. So we'll crack on. We'll see if we can get a few more skimmers. I'm hoping that they'll turn up. They need to turn up. Oh, forgot to put my timer on there. It's been in a minute. There we go, back again. When you're in and out like this, I do tend to forget to put my timer on. I know if I was sat waiting for 20-minute cast, half-hour cast, however long you decide to leave it, you don't forget to see them. There's just really tiny little taps. You're not going to see it on the camera, but they're really little taps. And when I fished it here last time, there were only little bites anyway for the pound and a half skimmers as well. It's as if they pick it up and just sit on it. But we've had plenty of bites. Can't complain this time of year. Out of the house, in the fresh air. Lovely day. What more do you want in lockdown? So let's just keep us fingers crossed we get a few decent fish turn up. Just to finish the day off. I think now's the time we should start catching. Fingers crossed, because the bait been going in regular. Hopefully if there's a few fish milling about, they might turn up on and get the heads down on that bit of bait we've got out there. So fingers crossed for a few decent fish. Will this be another... Oh, it's a skimmer. I thought it was going to be a roach. There we go. Just can't seem to get past this size skimmer at the minute. Again, tiny little bite. A couple of pieces of worm, as you can see there. Look about past the sell-by date, I think, so we'll get some FishON. We'll get back in. Fingers crossed for some big ones, some monsters. Tiny little bite again. Oh, he's bounced off. Come here, slippery fish. Tiny little bite and a nice little skimmer. But that's all we're getting at the moment. A bigger piece of worm on that time. I was hoping to, when I saw the slow pull, decent sized worm on and a little skimmer again. They're just not having it, these bigger ones, are they, at the minute? So, no, that looks okay. It's not even marked, that's fine. That's fine, that can go out again. So we'll get out there, try and get another one. A bit of chopped worming, a few micros, a couple of dead reds, a couple of pinkies. So I'm still not leaving it in more than 4 minutes, because it does seem like there's plenty of small fish out there. So I'm hoping eventually that it will attract the bigger fish. But it's nice, easy fishing. Nice and relaxed. Fishing at about, I don't know, 18 metres at the most. There we go. Settle. There we go. Lovely. Hit the timer on her again. Oh, back straight away there. Is it on? It's a tiny one if it is. I missed it. That was a proper bream bite, that. That must have just nibbled the end of the worm. So bites have been coming in like less than 2 minutes of the last couple of casts, so didn't even give me a chance to get me bait in. Right. I've just had a nice robin, literally down here. I've got a picture of it, so I'll put that on. You were sat in that bush just there, looking at me as if saying, well, are you going to chuck me some maggots then or what? Let's get back out there again. Lovely little bite that. Probably best bite at the day and I missed it. Yeah, I'll just give it a slight little pull just to hopefully get that feeder away from the hook length a little bit. Timer on. Didn't even have a chance to put timer on last time. Let's just hope we have a nice little flurry and get a fair few skimmers, because what Steve likes to do is when we fish this, we get enough skimmers, he'll put them into other ponds. Because there's that many of them in here. And I don't particularly think we've dropped on like a frenzy day of them, of catching loads of them. A little vibration there. I'll give that a little tweak. Like I said, that can usually promote a bite instantly. Every time I do it when camera's on it, it never goes. But today, a few times when I've done that, just moved it a few inches, it's just gone. Like I said, I think I mentioned it before, it's like a predatory instinct to just snap at it. So, thoroughly enjoying the day, nice and relaxed, like I said, plenty of small skimmers to be had, roach, can't complain, can you? Updates when we get into some bigger ones. Right then folks, there's some desperate measures happening here. Geoff's got a little pike in his peg. He's trying to catch it in his landing net. And he wants to count it if he gets it as well. He keeps charging his net all the time. I've heard of desperate measures for a quid, but that's just taking it to a different level, innit? You know what I'm saying? Have you got it yet, Geoff? No. Oh dear. I had to let you know because it just tickled me pink. Could be a netter. Oh, Geoff's got that pike. And here we go. I'm going to forget this pike for you, show you this pike. But that's a skimmer on the worm for me, which I've been after. Let's have a look, Geoff. I've got to get it on camera. Right. So we'll just put this skimmer in. So that's a little bit bigger. I can't believe that he's actually got it out of his peg with his landing net.
Oh, Steve. Yeah, I've got it. Right, I'll shift it.
I've got to show you this. I've never seen out as daft in my life as this. This is just, this is what I'm up against, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't count. You didn't get it on with a hook. We've got to see this, haven't we? Look, this has been in his peg all morning. And how did you catch that then, Geoff?
Landing net only, no bait.
That's been in his peg, Stony Eye himself. Do you want me to put it in a different area for you, Geoff? Right. I'm sorry for laughing, ladies and gents, but I can't get my breath. He's actually wanting to claim the £4 pike as part of winning his pound. He's not used any bait.
And the owner has okayed it.
And then the owner's outside him and he says it's thumbs up. And I'm catching these tiddlywinks here. So that came within 30 seconds. I just cast in straight round. Just a little bit of worm. Well, I can't get my breath. That's I don't think I've ever seen that before. Comments below. Oh dear. See, this is what I'm up against, ladies and gentlemen. Fisher people. All these techniques that they're trying to put into action and wanting to count it.
You can't beat being simple.
Oh no, he's just said you can't beat being simple. Well, he said it, didn't he? Geoff said it, not me. Oh dear. Well, if anything, it's been a bit of a fun day anyway, hasn't it? Had a few fish. And Geoff's had to use extreme measures to try and win today. And Steve's telling everybody right at the ponds now. Oh, dearie me. I can't get my breath. Right. See you on the next fish. Well, still pretty much the same. Oh, a bit bigger roach this time. Oh, we have to excuse the language. Some language going off around here, didn't there? So, you know, decent sized roach. But again, still not the skimmers turning up that we're after. I'm going to have a couple more casts on this, and I'm going to try what Steve said. I'm going to try the long Juro banjo feeder out there with a couple of dead reds on, and just see if there's any decent bream turned up out there. So I've got 10 throwbacks and whatever's in my net at the minute. So I don't know how many fish we've had. I don't know, maybe 20 odd fish, which isn't bad at this time of year, I suppose. And Geoff's still insisting that we count his pike. Oh dear, I can't get my breath. I'm on a loser, aren't I? Unless I get one of these mighty breams. So let's get back out there. Right. He's a case, isn't he? Ah, Geoff. Right then, fish people, we've not weighed in. We've just sort of guesstimated by lifting the net up. I think we've had 3 or 4 pounder bits and bobs, plus Geoff's chucked 27 back. I've chucked 13 back. So I think I've got to give it to him, haven't I? I think I've got to give it to him because he actually caught that bloody pike. Just the landing net. I just thought we were wasting his time. Couldn't believe it. He says, I've got the beep. Swore. It was about 4 pound, as you'll see. So Geoff, I've got a pound in my pocket. I'll get it out of my pocket and give you it in a minute.
I don't think I'm going in there.
Well, we've really enjoyed it. It's been a cracking day. Plenty of bites. Yeah. The decent skimmers that we know are in here, the sort of 1 to 3 pound skimmers that we have caught plenty of in the past, just didn't turn up. It's been rock hard, ice everywhere for the last few days, but we've had a cracking day's fishing. It's been beautiful weather, nice to be out. The pole has definitely beaten the feeder today. We both think we should have been a little bit further out. Well, not further out for me, but I think a waggler would have been key today with it being so clear. But we've had loads of fish, haven't we, Geoff?
Oh, we have, yeah. It's been a cracking day.
It's been a bite nearly every putting, hasn't it? So you can't complain about that at this time of year. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So I hope you've enjoyed the insights to Gowdle. It's called Oakland Waters at Gowdle. The insights to a day's roach and skimmer fishing, albeit there were very, very small fish. We've probably had about, what, 40 fish a piece? Yeah. Around about 40 fish a piece. So not a lot of weight, but a busy day's fishing. So me and Geoff will be joining you on the bank. We don't know where, do we yet?
Not yet, no.
We might come back here at one of the other ponds and see if we can get a few winter carp out. So been nice getting together, having a little chat, bit of a laugh. Yep. I hope it keeps you people with a smile on your face in these terrible times. Where do you fancy next then, Geoff? What we're going to do?
Come back here and run up to the lakes, I think.
We're going to come back here. We know that dobbing a bit of bread and things like that, and bomb work. You like your bomb work, don't you?
Oh.
So it's ta-ta from me.
And it's ta-ta from him.
So we'll see you on the bank next week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, guys, if you do enjoy our videos, it's absolutely free to subscribe. So press the subscribe button. Click the notification bell. You will get all our videos as we upload them. And if you do like them, don't forget, a big thumbs up. That'd be very, very nice. So until next time, fish on, guys. See you soon.
Yeah, good. Hope that comes out all right.